I recently rewatched the three Tom Holland Spider-Man films, which I think are quite good. And I think Homecoming was better than I remember it, actually. But I stand by my claim that Far From Home is the best. The story and the villain are very clever, the threat is compelling, and the European road trip element offers plenty of visual, colour, and narrative propulsion, keeping the film paced very well. Jake Gyllenhaal plays one of the best MCU villains in Quentin Beck, Mysterio, and his technology and plan to engineer these fake world-saving scenarios and make himself a famous superhero. It's a really solid villain story. It's very well executed. The motivations make sense. The action is excellent. And there's some decent humor. I liked this movie a lot, and I think it has a lot going for it. Spider-Man No Way Home is generally considered by fans to be the better movie. Peter has to grow up, have a real coming-of-age story, and learn, much like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, that with great power comes great responsibility. His innocence is shattered when Aunt May is killed. Ultimately, the film hinges on a multiverse plot gimmick, which is contrived out of a magic spell that Peter has Doctor Strange perform in order to make the world forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. He wants to do this because his life and the life of his girlfriend and his best friend have become a total mess since the world discovered his secret identity. They've been denied a place in the college of their choice, and when the spell goes wrong, now everyone who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man starts coming in from other universes. So that initially includes just villains from other Spider-Man movies: Doc Ock, Sandman, Green Goblin, Electro, and Dr. Kurt Connors. But eventually the big selling point of the movie is the crossover with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield reprising their roles as previous versions of Spider-Man from other Sony Spider-Man movies. And there's some fun banter in there, some great chemistry between the three of them, a little bit of light fourth wall breaking, but it's fun, and you can't help but have a smile on your face seeing them together. In the end, Peter requests that Doctor Strange make the entire world forget who he is. So he makes a selfless choice, placing the wishes of his friends ahead of his own desires. He sacrifices his relationship with MJ and his friendship with Ned so that they can have the life they wanted, while he goes off and embraces his destiny as the loner, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man vigilante. It's a strong conclusion and a satisfying character journey. But the film isn't as strong as Far From Home, in my opinion. You don't believe me? Well, go ahead and rewatch both movies again back to back and tell me if you still think that No Way Home is as strong as you remember it to be. Because I can tell you this, I'd forgotten how slow and exposition heavy the film can be in places. Ultimately, when you dig beneath the surface of No Way Home, there's not much really there, other than Peter's journey, of course. But what I'm saying is, it isn't bad. It's not a bad film at all. In fact, the film is quite decent. There's some great moments, but while Far From Home had a great central villain with an interesting agenda of his own and enjoyable plot twists, No Way Home doesn't really have those things at all. In many ways, Peter is his own worst enemy in this movie. The main cut and thrust of No Way Home is that Peter messed up with a magic spell. He created some multiverse chaos and has to spend the rest of the movie cleaning up that mess. Now, upon first watch, it works very well because there's a novelty of seeing the emergence of Doc Ock and then Green Goblin and the other villains and then the other Spider-Men come into the film. And it's great to see the three of them work together. Maguire and Garfield are fantastic. But that's really all the film has going for it. The multiverse gimmick of crossing over characters from other Spider-Man productions. That's the basis of the entire conflict. A tear in the fabric of reality that Peter accidentally caused and he has to fix. That's really it. Now, I found that I didn't enjoy the film nearly as much the second time because much of it is a lot of technical multiverse exposition at the expense of character, and also there's a lot of sort of on-screen member berries. Now, don't get me wrong, this film is probably the best use of the multiverse concept in any Marvel production, which isn't saying too much, to be honest, because the multiverse is just an annoying plot device and a trend that really needs to stop at this point. But my second watch of this film just made me take notice of how Peter is basically just fighting against nothing more than the consequences of that plot device. Again, I don't think it's a bad movie. It is still enjoyable. It's just not as strong as Far From Home. Now, the film has lots of other things going for it. There are some good gags, there's sharp dialogue and great acting, but Far From Home had the better story, the smarter story. It had a villain with a conscious acting agency, a will of his own, and a set of intentions, motivations, and clever strategies to achieve his goal. And Peter finds himself caught up in all of that, in conflict with it, because it's at odds with who he is and what he stands for. He trusts Beck, he gets deceived by him, and then he has to overcome his illusions, which are very convincing. In No Way Home, there's no real central villain at the center of Peter's conflict. I mean, sure, Peter fights against Green Goblin and Electro and Doc Octavius, but they're not really the central threat of the story. Even though Green Goblin kills Aunt May, he's still not the main source of story conflict. He's a byproduct of the central story conflict. He emerged from the multiverse plot device. The main struggle for Peter to overcome is the multiverse tear he created, not any one particular person. Green Goblin, Electro, Doc Octavius, they're just some of the chaos that Peter has to spend the movie cleaning up. These bad guys are a source of some action set pieces and nothing more. Without the multiverse problem that Peter created, they wouldn't even be there. And that's what really became apparent to me upon watching this film again. The main source of conflict isn't as strong and exists purely to achieve a crossover event. Now, one of the strengths of No Way Home is Peter's final transformation. If everything had just gone back to normal after he fixes the multiverse issue, then it would have felt like a very unsatisfying reset button conclusion. But the ending is very good because of the maturity that Peter achieves and the heroic nature of his final decision to say goodbye to Ned and MJ. The hero's journey is, after all, often a lonely one, and it's a road that only Peter can take. So that might be a controversial one because I think a lot of people prefer No Way Home to Far From Home. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, guys. Subscribe for more. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.